Morning guys, up and at 'em. First one of 2023. Start as you mean to go on, right? Keep the ball rolling. I always tell my guys that I guide. In order for movement to start, you got to push the ball. Push the ball, get the momentum going. Keep it going. So here we are guys, 2023, Happy New Year. And as the Grom would say, madness is real. Which will bring me to my subject, which I've actually been kind of looking forward to putting out there. I was deciding whether I was going to or not, and then something said, yeah, put it out. And I want to talk about reality. And reality is one of those things that we look at that's happening in front of us, and you're right. That's what it is. Morning. That's exactly what it is. It is a reality. Whatever's happening in front of you is a reality. But if you take 5 people and line them all up and look at that same thing that's happening in front of them, they're all going to come up with a different conclusion. They're all going to have a different view of what they're looking at. So what's the reality? You know, it's one of those, a broad question really, when you think about it. Because it's happening all the time, but it's always in flux, it's always moving. Reality is always moving. It's never stationary, it's always on the move. I mean, even from now. You know, I started this video, that was my reality. It's changed in the short period of time that I've been doing this. But the trouble with the reality that's happening in front of you, and like I said, you get those 5 people with the perceptions. That's exactly it. You're living a fake reality. You're actually looking at that reality that's actually happening, and you're attaching your emotion to it. And the only reason you would attach emotion to it, any kind of emotion to it, is due to a belief or a program. You may have witnessed something when you were younger, and then you grow up, it's never happened again, and there you are in a position, something happens right in front of you. It's not the thing in front of you, that's the trigger. The actual reality, that's not what you're having a problem with. That's the trigger that's triggering back to a belief or a program that you have about that. Now you're living that belief or program. You're not living what's in front of you. That's why I say about being present, guys. You've only got the present. You can only move through life by looking at what's in front of you. And yeah, we're going to have emotion. You know, the Buddhists try and no, I mean, everybody's human, right? Everybody has emotion, of course. But it's a practice to, when you see things and you start getting an emotion to it, what's the reality? What's the reality of it? Start asking the questions. I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. Anxiety, why? Anger, why? Sadness, why? Ask. You know, I'm not saying about grief or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, guys. I mean, obviously, you know, there's certain emotions that happen where we, you know, I mean, grief being one, where when you've had that love and caring and empathy, etc., for a human being or an animal or whatever it may be, you know, that's like feeling abandoned a little bit. It's like you lost something. So grieving is understandable, but even with grieving, the brain starts to reprogram. You never forget, of course not. You always remember, you always love and care. But the grief does, you know, when they say time heals, you know, it does. It just takes time. But it takes going into looking at what that reality is. And the reality of it you know, someone passed, a human being passed, or an animal, whatever, like I say, grief, right? But we still have that connection to the person, the emotion. So we bring that in. That's what's affecting us, is that part, the loss. When we say loss, yes, we lost the person, but we lost everything that went with the person, right? So, you know, maybe it isn't a loss. Maybe we're looking at it differently. I don't know. Because, you know, we've obviously learned from them. We've picked up a lot from them too. I mean, I know even with my dog, I know it might sound crazy. Not to a lot of people that have dogs, but or animals in general. But you know, he knows, and he comes up, and I gain something from him. There's something I get from my dog. I mean, it's that love and care, and you know. So when our pets pass, or you know, someone else passes, it's the attachment to that, and it's understandable. But reality, you can start looking at and seeing if you could do anything about it, which, if you can, and you can detach the emotion from it, if your emotions get in the way and your programs get in the way, which start the emotions, if they get in the way and your belief systems get in the way, then you can't think clearly. You're not looking at the reality for what it is. So you're not really sure what to do. In fact, you might make the wrong decision or wrong choice because you're working off a belief around that. Morning. So look at reality. Try and put space, if something's bothering you, put space between you and what's going on, and kind of like detach and look at it and see it for what it really is, and see where you're getting tied into it emotionally and where that may be coming from. So look at reality a little bit different. If you get on the reality, you start relieving a lot of some of the stresses of your mind, because you start to see things in a different perspective, the real perspective, not the fake perspective. Stay the course, guys. Namaste.